Now, reporter Katleho Sekhoto has been watching things on the ground for us, and she joins us once again for a wrap-up of what she has seen so far throughout the day. It's been a long day, Katleho, of investigations to determine the source of the explosion, the deployment of security forces to ensure safety and security. Traffic officers have been deployed to direct traffic. Some have been in hospitals, and now we're getting word that some have also been released. Sum it up for us. What has been the progress made today?
A very good evening, Thabo. You know, this is where this briefing just took place a short while ago, with the city manager explaining the progress they've made as the city of Joburg in understanding what happened with this explosion, the cause behind it, and obviously trying to mitigate the damage that it's caused. But we really heard from the city manager the efforts that will be made in the coming weeks, days, possibly months, in trying to understand what caused this, but also in the rehabilitation of Lilian Street. You know, when we left, so we are at the Mary Fitzgerald Square at the moment, but when we left the site there on the street formerly known as Bree Street, officials were still on site and, you know, sifting through the scene. There were some experts there on the ground as well. So it looks like it might be one of those things where officials will be going days and days trying to investigate and trying to understand what caused this explosion, which, as we know, took one person's life and injuring close to 50 people. But Thabo, listen to the city manager speaking about JMPD barricading this cordoned off part of the road which experienced the explosion, and outlining, for example, the safety of residents living in that area.
JMPD and SAPS will then barricade the area. You would have realized that as and when you move in the area, you'll start to see those particular barbed wires there, so we'll be barricading that area for efficient management of the site and the creation of safe environment. And this will link to the possibility, because you would recall yesterday we spoke about the possibility of issuing some permits to the residents in that area. But then at that stage we also spoke about the fact that we still need to do this, the structural integrity of those buildings. And today we've reported now that those areas are structurally sound and it's safe for occupation.
Now, Thabo, what we also heard from the city manager is that, you know, this is a sensitive site in terms of, you know, understanding the cause, but also because it's gas, you know, they want to tread carefully. So in this clip, in this moment, Thabo, the city manager spoke about the way they will be sensitively handling the matter, so not using any heavy equipment, and it's really about approaching the problem in a dynamic and a sensitive way.
That the tasks that we are undertaking are dynamic, it's complex, and at this stage will have to be handled with due care. And that no heavy equipment can be deployed to the site immediately. The reason why we cannot deploy any heavy equipment like excavators, because there's then a further risk of possible collapse of that particular road. So whatever it is that we need to do, it will be done through labor. So the digging and the trenching will be done, and that will be done by hand.
So yes, Thabo, the city manager explaining there, you know, they will be handling this crisis delicately, but also assuring that the structural integrity of the buildings, the residential buildings near the site, remains intact, and that nobody is at risk by living there. So yes, this is the update we've received from the city of Joburg so far.
Not only delicately, but using manual labor, Katleho, we are learning there. City Power was also there giving a briefing, and I suppose, Gavin, from what the city manager has said, there's not much that they can do at this particular stage until the site is secured.
Absolutely, Thabo. You know, what we heard is that essential services in that area will be switched off. So For example, water will be switched off. It's already been switched off. This means that the city will have to provide alternative water arrangements. Tankers will be deployed to the area as well as mobile toilets. We also heard from City Power that power has never been restored since the load shedding that was implemented yesterday night at 8 o'clock. It was never restored there again. And the gas also, running in the pipes underground being switched off within the next, at that time it was within the next 2 hours. So meaning now from 10 o'clock there'll be no gas that's running underground, and that will be switched off. So a number of resources being drained out of that area in order for experts and technicians to work delicately around the problem.
Now, Katleho, you were pretty much there throughout the day. Tell us about the air quality. What is the sense that you got around the air quality and the gases that are continuing to flow? I know the city manager saying that they did do a test on the air quality and the gas that is out there, and believing that as long as it is dissipating into open air, it poses no risk, and therefore there will be no evacuations.
Yes, so that's an important element there, Thabo. You know, when you're there at the site, you definitely don't get a sense that there's gas in the air, and perhaps this, supports the city manager's sentiments or, information that in terms of gas, it is dissipating into the air, very different from, for example, what we saw in the Boksburg explosion, which killed 17 people. But, what we did hear, for example, from the Charlotte Maxeke Hospital, where the Gauteng Health MEC made a visit, Nomantu or Nkomora Lehoko made a visit there, it was confirmed that none of the patient's injuries, so we had over 50 people being injured, 2 critical, none of them registering injuries of gas inhalation. So this suggests that all the injuries were almost physical on the body, and so yes, in terms of gas, there were no smells on site, but also that the patients who were affected, none of their injuries being of gas inhalation.
Katleho, it's been a long day at the office. Appreciate your time and this late night update there on the situation on the ground. Katleho Sekhoto, a Newzroom Afrika reporter. She's been in the city of Johannesburg, took the latest update from the city manager on the work that is being done. To repeat again, they said there'll be no evacuations, and even more importantly, the buildings are sound for occupation, no structural damage being detected. However, services will not resume just as yet. Some mobile applications are going to be put in place, certainly for residents when it comes to water, and some technology will be implemented as well as far as assessing damage to infrastructure and